Good morning, all, and welcome to another edition of Saturday Morning Coffee with Back to Basics Dog Training. As always, I'm super excited to be here, talk about our favorite subject, dogs. And for you, those of you joining me for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. And my name is Leon. I'm the head trainer, owner, whatever you want to call me, of Back to Basics Dog Training. And each and every week here on Facebook, YouTube, good morning, Donna, I bring you this live platform. You can ask me any questions you have concerning your dog training needs, and I'll be happy to answer them. And if you're watching later on in the replay, you can always put your comments down. Let me know where you're watching from, where you watched it, what platform you watched it on also would help. And if you have any questions, even on the replay, put them in the comments and I will get to them. So, good morning. I hope everybody's had a great week since last week's show. It's been a kind of crazy week for me here, so let's just get into some issues that I've been seeing a lot of on Facebook and in real life situations. Recently, I've had the privilege of working with a few rescue dogs. Dogs that have been terrified of putting a leash on them, anything. They're scared. And I'm going to use a dog that is in my family as an example. Dog is a great dog. Y'all probably heard me talk about him before. Brody, red-nosed pit bull. Brody is a phenomenal, phenomenal dog. Definitely gives pit bulls a bad reputation because all he wants to do is snuggle. So Brody, a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, I don't know exactly when, had elbow surgery. He had bone spurs in his elbow. He did really good with the surgery. He seems to be doing much better. But since the surgery, he's all of a sudden established a fear of walking on my kid's laminate floors. And it's heartbreaking because this dog is normally happy-go-lucky, greets everybody at the door, normal shtick. But now all of a sudden he's terrified to walk on the floors to the point where he has to walk on the laminate floors to get where they feed him. And he's even having a problem going over there to get his food. And he is definitely food motivated. We had to do a slow feed bowl with him because he's just so happy to eat. He just wants a gavoon and all. So my kids called me. I went over there yesterday to see what was going on. And of course, the question even my own family asks is, why is he doing this? And I've stated this numerous times before. The whys don't matter. Why is the dog behaving in X behavior? It doesn't matter, because you're not going to figure it out most of the times. So what you really want to do is say, the hell with the why. Let's fix this issue. Let's figure out what we're going to do to unlock the dog's brain. Because when they have bad behaviors or unwanted behaviors, guys, they're not bad dogs. They just don't know any better. Brody's not a bad dog. He just all of a sudden built up a fear of walking on laminate floors. Now, from a human point of view, I can figure it, pretty much backtrack it and figure out what probably happened. Is normally when the kids are at work, they put the dog upstairs. It's carpeted. It's all this and it's safe. But because he had the surgery, he couldn't go up and down the stairs, so they kept him in the downstairs part of the house. And what my assumption is somebody probably rang the doorbell. He got excited, even though he had the surgery, and slipped and hurt himself and blames the floor. And it's all understandable, and we can rationalize it any way we want, but it's still an unacceptable, unwanted behavior. So I went over there yesterday when they weren't home, because it's easier, and I put Brody on a leash, and I saw it. He shut down. He gave me that lockout. I'm not going nowhere, no matter what you do. And his teeth chatter when he's nervous. And I kind of worked him through it. He's not cured, but I started working him through it. And what I did notice, and this is just something everybody should understand, when dogs are in a certain state of mind, be it especially a fearful state of mind, a lot of times if the fear is so overwhelming, so overpowering to the dog, they forget. They won't eat. They won't take treats. They won't take, even if they're the most food motivated dog in the world, they won't take a food source because their mind is just like, oh my God. So after working him around on a leash, walking him through the house, he fought me, he protested. I put a little bit of my leash pressure routine, and I convinced him to follow me, and he did decent. I'm not going to say he did great. And then I took out the treats. And everybody who knows me knows I'm not much of a treat trainer, but when I deal with insecurity, so I will use something that will motivate a dog. And it's not, something I do all the time, but it is something that, depending on the dog, you change what you do. And so what I did is I took out the treats just to see how bad his mind was shut down is the main reason I did it. So I coaxed him through a part where he was locking up on me constantly. And what I did is I put the treat in front of his nose and guided him with the smell of the treat. And he followed it and he took the treat. So that tells me his mind isn't completely shut down yet, which is good because we want to try to catch these, issues before their mind shut down, because then it's very hard to break it. So when we're talking about dogs with insecurities, and that's what we're going to focus on today until some questions come popping up. When I talk about dogs with insecurities, first thing I tell everybody, when you're dealing with a dog that's unsure of a situation, could be stranger danger situation. I'm not sure how to react to strangers. I'm not sure how to react to people in my home. They tuck their tail, they hide behind things, whatever. They're afraid of thunder and fireworks. They're afraid of a shiny surface, a laminate floor, afraid of their reflection in a mirror. I've seen dogs that do that. They can't look at themselves. The one thing I need to preach to people is it's a labor of love when you get to that point. You cannot rush insecurity. Never, ever, ever try to rush insecurity. So when I was working with Brody yesterday, I may have done 15 minutes of doing this with him, putting him in situations that made him uncomfortable just to show him, hey, we can do this and you're not going to fall, you're not going to get hurt, whatever. And then I stopped for 15 minutes. And then I continued for 15 minutes. And then I stopped for 15 minutes. Because if I tried to do that half hour, whatever I physically worked with him, I could have created that positive to a negative because I'm pushing him too hard. So I hope that makes sense. When you're dealing with insecurities, the key is you have to be patient and be willing to take the time to not force feed the animal into doing something just to make you happy. So if your dog is afraid of people, well, yeah, we need to introduce your dog to people, but you can't introduce them to 100 people the first day one. Stark still has his moments of issues with the vacuum. It's interesting because sometimes he's fine. Yeah, Donna, and that's a great point because my daughter said that about Brody. Sometimes it was like he forgot that he was afraid of or unsure of the flaws, and he acted normal. Like when I was there yesterday, the kids had a plumber come, rang the doorbell. Brody was fine. He ran to the door. And then he realized once he got to the door, like, oh, crap, how do I get back to the living room? So they do forget. And when they forget and they do good, praise them. But when they have that unwanted behavior towards the vacuum, towards the floor, towards whatever it is, you need to guide them. It's not necessarily about discipline. It's not necessarily about punishment at this point. It's guiding them through the process. And that's, I really, guys, I think there's a huge disconnect in the training field, in the human field, in the whole thing, where I think people don't understand it's a process. Everything we do with our dogs. When I worked with Stark, it was a process to get him to the dog he is today. It didn't happen overnight. It was a process. And there were good days and there were bad days. And now the good days are outweighing the bad days, but because the process is working. If people are looking for a quick fix, don't call me. And it's not because I want to take your money and steal your money. I just won't put a dog in that situation. And Donna knows this exactly because, as much as I want to get things done in one session, make this dog the happiest dog in the world and make the people the happiest people in the world, there are sometimes it's impossible to do it because I will not put the dog in that type of stress. On a side note, guys, whoever's watching, I put a link on my Facebook page to my Google review page. I really would appreciate if people would go on there and click on the link and write me a review. Somebody put a bad review on it. I don't know who this person is. They said that that their dog is more terrified of strangers since I've been there, that I'm abusive and all this garbage. I'm not going to sit there and play games and fight with. I put my comments. I don't know who this person is. I looked it up in my database. I don't think she's a customer of mine. I don't know who she is, but that's okay. I put my comments down. I asked her to please get back to me and let me know what's going on. I could take the steps and go to Google and say, hey, I want this review removed. I don't play that game. I put my comments down there, let her respond. I believe people are educated enough to see, hey, she put a bad review. Back to Basics commented, she never got back. Shame on her. But I would like to push her bad review down further. So if you guys can go up there and post some reviews on my Google page, I'd appreciate it. But getting back to what we're talking about, and Donna put it, oh no quick fixes. Absolutely. There is no such thing. Nothing in this world is a quick fix. Anything worth having is worth putting an effort into. And it's real important to the safety and the comfort of the dog. If the dog is afraid of certain things or unsure, I hate that word afraid, unsure of certain things, the worst thing we can do is force it. I've seen videos, I've watched TV shows of other trainers, dogs afraid of other dogs. So what do? They bring them into their pack of 20 dogs and they flood this dog with 20 dogs. I don't think that's the right thing to do. I think it's actually creates a negative. If I have a dog that's afraid of other dogs, I'll introduce one dog, and usually a calm dog at that time. The first one, because I want a good introduction. Hey, look, we're around another dog and nothing bad is happening. And then maybe over time bring in higher energy dogs just to start bringing them to places where there are more dogs. But you have to do it in steps. If you try to rush any process with an unsure, insecure dog, I'm telling you, it's going to create the negative of what you want. And it's a constant thing. Just because you had a good experience, like Donna said, some days he's fine with the vacuum. Some days he's not. Guys, there's some days I'm fine with certain things, and there's some days I'm not fine with the same damn thing the next day. You're allowed that. They're allowed to do that too. But again, our job as their, whatever you want to call it, their doggy mommy and daddies, their pack leaders, their alphas, whatever phrase we want to use, their owners, their masters, whatever. Our job is to guide them to what we expect them to be. Same way we guide our children into what we expect them to be. Hopefully this makes sense, guys. If you're watching now live or on the replay, put it in the comments. Let me know if this stuff makes sense. Because it's real important. I personally think, and I follow other trainers on YouTube and Instagram and all this type of crap, I think certain trainers tend to rush processes, and I don't know if they're doing it because they want that pat on the back or whatever. It's not about my ego. It's not about how good I am or how bad I am or whatever. It's you hire me personally. It's about what's right for the dog. Yes, you're paying me. I understand all that, but you're hiring me to advocate for your dog's needs, and that's. For anybody watching outside of where my normal area is, if you're looking to hire a trainer, ask questions. It's real important. I don't think there's any place outside my area. If I can arrange a trip to go visit people, I'm going to do that. Like I'm going back up north. I think I told you guys last week at the end of September. I think I'm going to actually arrive up Long Island. I'm coming up on the 29th. I think I'm going to be there. I'm not sure exactly. I'm going to be there for probably about 10 days. And then I'm going to do my trip down from, Long Island through whatever states I come to get back to South Carolina. So anybody in that range can take advantage of me or hire me. When introducing Stark to a new people, when do we know it's time to take him off the leash? I mean, he does not start on the leash when they first. What? I mean, he does not start on the leash. He's been doing very well with the last two new people that came over while on leash, and when we let him off. You got to judge it, Donna. You know Stark. You know your dog better than I do, sort of. But if his mind is calm, and this goes to anybody, when the dog's mind is calm, he does start on the leash. Okay. When his mind is calm is when you can test him and take him off the leash. But you got to make sure your guests, the new visitors, the people coming into your home understand the rules that you want for Stark. So if you let him off leash and he goes over and he's a gentleman, they can pet him. They can do whatever whatever's normal routine. But at any point in that process, if he gets excited, they got to stop petting him. You got to put him back on the leash and you got to make your corrective measures. Or you can use the e-collar or whatever it is that you're using at that point to make sure he understands he's not allowed to get excited when the guests are there. It's unacceptable. And again, I relate it to having young children. If I invite people over to my house when my girls were young and I'm trying to hold an adult conversation, I don't want my kids screaming in the background or trying to fight for the attention of the guest in my house. That's rude. That's inconsiderate, and I wouldn't tolerate it. I won't tolerate that for my dog too. So if I was there and somebody came in, I'd have Stark on the leash, and when he was calm, I'd let him off. And if he greeted the people the way he should, which is like a gentleman, I'm fine. At any point in that process, as long as the people understand the rules, and I know he understands the rules, he breaks that protocol. The people have to stop petting him and giving him the attention, the no look, no touch, no talk, and the leash goes back on, or I use the e-collar and I give him a firm no, or you can just try nope and see if he stops, because he may, we got to give him the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes we'll try just the verbal. So if he goes over to somebody and he starts getting overly excited, nope. And if he stops, great. If he doesn't, then you go to the leash or the e-collar. Let me rephrase how I said that, because I realized as I was talking, I was kind of saying it wrong. First, you try the verbal, because we've worked on the verbal no having relevance, which people have to understand. That word no pay, whatever discipline word you're using, has to have relevance. He understands now at this point of our of his journey that no pay is a bad thing. When I hear that, I need to stop. So you always try the verbal first once he understands it, and then if that doesn't work, you reinforce it with the tools that you have at your disposal. So I hope that made sense, Donna. But just keep working with him. And it's a lifetime commitment we make. I say this to you guys all the time. I work with Zoe constantly. I'm doing different things with her. I reinforce things that we worked on when she was a puppy till she's 8 years old now. A lot of times when I have a chance to take her off leash here, I take her off leash, and I reinforce the heel command. That's not about the sniffing and the stopping and the peeing and the pooping and the but no, you're with me. Don't leave my side. Don't go too far in front of you get too far in front of me, I check you up. If you lag too far behind me, I check her up. When I ask her to heel, she has to be right by my side, and it's something I work on constantly with her, with distractions and without distractions. But of course, when I started this, it was no distractions. So it's real important, even on a dog that you think is perfect. Continue working every single time. The dog will appreciate it more. You're challenging their minds, making them think, and they like that, because they're like, okay, what do you want me to do next? I have a puppy in the house right now. My dear friends of mine asked me to watch their dog while they went to go visit their grandkids. Happens to be baby Zoe, because we have two Zoes here now. And Zoe's about 8 months. Baby Zoe's about 8 months old. Still got puppy energy, still does stupid puppy stuff. But, one thing I've noticed, and I know my friends have been working very hard with her, is when I'm working with her or walking her, because that's working with her, and when it's that time for that healing process, and I have to maybe make a slight leash correction or verbal correction with her, she looks at me for guidance. And guys, I can't stress to you how important that is. That eye contact, that little look when you're walking, the dog just looks up at you, is so crucial, because that's respect. He is happier when we challenge him and train him. He truly enjoys the structure. Exactly. You know what? That comment has to come up here. Hold on. Let's put that up there. Boom. Boom. And it's so well said, Donna. Thank you. I know for a fact, for what I do for a living, and if you think about what I do for a living, I challenge dogs every single day. When I'm with the dogs, I have to do some discipline. And again, don't forget, back to basics version of discipline never hurts or scare the dog, unlike the Google review I got. My form of discipline is never designed to hurt or scare the dog. It's to make it uncomfortable, period. Now, if somebody takes what I tell them with that leash pop, and I always say when I talk about popping the leash, it's not to throw the dog into the wall next to me. It's just to unlock the brain. Now, if somebody takes that to the wrong level and overcorrects their dog, I can't control that. But they enjoy the dogs that I work with, and I'm talking behavioral issues. Stark was a good example. If Stark had the choice from day one when he met me at the first house he was at, also at his second house and his last house, he would have came home with me because they really need that structure. They enjoy the structure. They need it for survival. We need it for survival, guys. I don't know how else to say it. And again, I always go back to my key is that my energy is right there. It is the most important form of communication we have with our dogs. The words are for us, makes us feel good. But even when I was working with Brody yesterday, and the reason I went over there when the kids weren't home is Brody is their baby. They love him to death. They are phenomenal doggy parents. I think they overspoil them sometimes. That's my opinion. I think they overhumanize them sometimes. My opinion. So when I worked with him, knowing I was going to put him in a situation that was going to make him uncomfortable, I didn't want them around because their energy could have overrode my energy. And when I was doing it, I shut off that emotion. I hated, guys, I mean, I'm human. I hated seeing my grand dog that scared, that unsure, that insecure, whatever word you want to put on it. I, as an animal lover, hated seeing it. But I also knew what I was doing was the right thing, so I kind of can shut off that part that I hated seeing it. I deal with that later. But I know at the end, and I proved it to my son-in-law, is I did that for about an hour with him, with breaks in between. And when my son-in-law came home, Brody hung out with me, not his daddy. Why? Because I gave him what he truly needed, which is structure, which is that, hey, listen, I'm never going to put you in a situation that's going to hurt you. Trust me. What's any good relationship? It's built on trust and mutual respect. So if you trust your dog to do something, your dog's going to trust you. If you respect your dog for what they are, dogs, they will respect you. And that is huge, guys. That's huge in the animal world and in the human world. You trust each other, things are good. You can't have a good marriage without trust. You can't have any relationship without trust. You can't have any relationship without mutual respect. It's so much more important, I don't know if that's the right word, in the animal world, the dog world, to build that trust with your dog, build that respect. And that is work. Anytime you try to build something, it works. It starts at a foundation and builds itself up to you get a 85-story mansion or whatever it is. But you have to take the time to build that trust. Just making sure I'm not getting any messages. Because sometimes this platform doesn't give me all my messages up there. So, guys, I hope what I'm saying this week makes sense because it's really, I'm seeing more of it on Facebook. Down here, we're dealing, and I think up north too, you guys are dealing with a lot of thunderstorms, so we got a lot of dogs insecure about the thunder. And again, it's real important to work them through it. You can try the thunder shirts, you can try ambient noises, you can do, but just keep in mind, avoidance doesn't teach. So by putting on the stereo louder to drown out the thunder isn't teaching the dog to coexist or deal with the thunder. Excuse me. I understand why we do things that we do, but avoidance to me never teaches the dog. The avoidance just is, I'm going to avoid this because my dog doesn't like it. Yeah, you know what? Sometimes you have to deal with the trauma to get them through the trauma. So if your dog is insecure about anything, could be walking on the leash, could be walking on shiny surfaces, it could be the ice maker in your freezer. You have to learn to make them deal with it. I actually watched another trainer on a video who was working in somebody's home who had a gas stove. And when you light the stove part, the top. That's a stove. No, that's the oven. I don't know. That's a stove. That click, 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 click from the igniter scared the crap out of the dog. Why? Who knows? Who cares? But you had it. What you had to do? You had to start the damn thing a million times. So the dog realized, oh, I'm hearing that sound. Nothing bad's happening. I can deal with this. But you have to watch them go through a temper tantrum. You have to watch them shut down and start shaking or drooling a lot or tail tucked between their legs. And it's heartbreaking. And I understand all that, guys. And it sucks. It sucks. But the reward at the end when you go through this process doesn't suck. So that's the preach for today is, learn to work with your dogs or work them through their insecurities, their unsureness, their fears, whatever it may be. You work them through it, they get through it. It's hard for you, and I understand that, but it's so important to your dog's well-being. Take the time, stay consistent on it. Like Donna says, one day he's good with the vacuum, one day he's not. The day he's not, we teach him, hey, today it's no different than yesterday. You have to like this vacuum. I need to use this vacuum. In Brody's case, he has to walk on those floors. I don't think the right answer would be get a ton of runners and put it over in their house. If I need to get runners, yes, just to help the process go a little faster, I would put runners down and get them used to just walking back and forth on those, and then maybe cut a foot off either end of the runner, and then now we got to go over 12 inches of the floor. And do that a bunch of times, and maybe cut another 12 inches, and work it slowly where eventually I don't need the runners. I mean, everybody likes these open floor plans, no carpeting. We want laminate floors. We want hardwood floors. We want these shiny floors and all this type of stuff. So there's ways to do it, but it's always a process. And like I said, anything worth having is worth working for. So with that being said, guys, if there's no other questions, I didn't get a lot today, but that's okay. There's always next week. That's not what I wanted. I wanted this one. As always, I see a chat came up. By the way, our boy just started counter surfing the past 2 days. Okay, so let's talk about it. Counter surfing is unacceptable in my world. We all know this. It's unacceptable. It's dangerous to a dog. It could be anything up there. It could be something they're not supposed to eat. It could be a knife. It could be something they don't know the difference. So again, I believe in setting a dog up for success. So if I have a dog work counter surfing, I put stuff on my counter. If most of the time I've experienced the dogs that counter surf don't do it in front of the human. They wait till the human's back is turned. They're smart. Guys, they're smart. Don't do it in front of them. They're going to yell at me. So they'll wait till we're out of the room, our back is turned or whatever. So what I say is, let's outthink the dog. And how I would do that is, today's world, we all have, our iPhones or iPads or Droid things and their version of it. I don't know what their tablet's called. Set up your own nanny cam system or get a nanny cam. And what you do is you put the camera where you can see the counter. You're going to put something up there that is safe for them to get, God forbid. And you watch them on your phone. And you watch them. And you watch them. And as soon as you start seeing that, oh, something's up there, I'm getting excited, you either run back and, nope. Or in your case, you have the e-collar. You can make a correction from a distance with your nope, because the nope is the relevance, not the stimulus or the pop of the collar leash. But you set them up for success by setting them up for failure. And it's real important to them because we know that's dangerous. So set up a system where you can watch what's going on. And as soon as you start seeing, not just walking by the counter, your timing really needs to be precise on this. It's right before you think he's going to go up on the counter, because you want to stop it before it happens. And you want to make it uncomfortable. So when I do it, before I started using e-collars, I would be extremely loud. No! Keep in mind, guys, there is a difference between being loud and yelling. Yelling is anger. Being loud is, I'm serious. Because as everybody knows who knows me, if I can find it, but I can't because, here it is. Why isn't it showing? There it goes. If you yell, you're angry. And I don't like anger or frustration. I like no nonsense. So when I do that, no, it's not yelling. It's me being assertive. Donna said, we also been working on making sure we're always give him his treats and not having him eat them off the floor. Beautiful. The more people can do that, yeah, it's really great that you put a treat on the floor. Leave it, leave it, leave it. Go ahead. Dog picks it up off the floor and eats it. You're not teaching the dog not to eat food off the floor. And it's real important, especially for people, either parents that have young children or grandparents that have young grandkids. It's real important to teach a dog, don't, food on the floor is not yours, pal. Excuse me, I don't know, I got a tickle in my throat. People have to teach their dogs food on the floor is not theirs, because what happens? The kid's running around with the bowl of Cheerios, the Cheerios falls, the kid's go to pick it up, the dog goes to pick it up, the dog's mouth gets the kid's hand, the dog bit the kid, the dog didn't bite the kid. I get tired of hearing that. I hear that a lot. That's not a dog biting. That's a dog that doesn't know proper rules and proper manners. And the real important thing is, just because I drop something doesn't mean it's yours. Because we can drop food that is not good. You drop a grape for a Yorkie, it can kill a Yorkie. One grape, simple little thing. So to me, it's better. Yes, you can put it there, but then you pick up the treat and you praise them and you give them the treat. The only time a dog should ever get foods or treats is either from your hand, or if you're going to give them people food, in their bowls. Not cleaning my plates off and putting my plate on the floor. It goes in their bowl. You should never feed them when you're at the table. The food goes from the table to their bowl if you're going to give them leftovers, but never from the table. Dog shouldn't be in the dining room when you're eating either, or near the table where you're eating, or your coffee table if you're eating in the living room. Dog should give you your personal space. But that's another subject that we can get into at a later date. Donna, work on this counter surfing. I don't like it. If you're having a problem, don't forget I'll be coming up. We'll definitely set something up when I'm there, because that's something that's real important. We need to make sure he doesn't do anything stupid. Again, guys, if there's no other questions, Donna, thank you for your input today. Thank you for inviting me into your homes this Saturday morning and every Saturday morning. I really do appreciate it. We'll be here next Saturday. This Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock on all three of the platform, my Facebook page and my YouTube channel. I'll be having an interview with that mini horse rescue that I interviewed about a month ago. We're going to tell you the progress. We're going to tell you some of the things that happened. Things have moved with this rescue, this mini horse rescue. Things have moved forward in a positive way. Some setbacks, we're going to talk about it all. But this platform, this Tuesday night Animal Talk that I do, this bi-weekly show, definitely helped their cause. It got the word out. So I already put it up on my Facebook page. If you guys can share it with anybody, any animal lover you guys know, I'd really appreciate it. I want to get a good audience to get the plight of these mini horses out there to the public, as much of the public as possible. I'll be sharing it on a whole bunch of rescue groups today that I know of. If you guys can find that post on my Facebook page, I'll pin it to the top after we finish this off today. So it'll be right there for you to see. Share that with all your friends, family around the country. That one's not so much around the world, but you know what? Have them join me from around the world, because we're going to talk about animals, and animals are worldwide, and how we can better treat all animals, not just dogs. Because remember, Back to Basics is more than just dogs. I'm about the animals. And also, again, please, if you can, go to my Google page and please write a review on my Google page. If I worked with you one-on-one in your privacy of your home, great. If I've helped you just through this platform, put that up there. If we did a Zoom session, put it up there, guys. I really would appreciate any good reviews. I know the world is going towards Google reviews. I'm trying to build up that database as much as I can. I'd appreciate any help you guys can give me. But like always, thank you for inviting me in your home this Saturday morning and every Saturday morning. Please stay healthy, stay safe. God bless. And remember, together we can help one dog and one family at a time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. We'll see you next week.